The Philadelphia Eagles are preparing to completely blindside the NFL with a roster purge that nobody saw coming. We're talking about massive names, former top draft picks, and reliable veterans who are about to get completely wiped off the depth chart in a post-June 1 financial execution. If you think your favorite player is safe just because of their reputation, you are in for a massive reality check. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. Let's start this roster disaster watch with a tight end room, where a former favorite is officially living on the hot seat. Grant Calcaterra is running out of time in Philadelphia. It is no secret that to survive in this offense, you have to either be a weapon in the passing game or an absolute monster in the trenches. Calcaterra has given the coaching staff neither. He rarely gets targeted, and his blocking has been a total Howie Roseman already signaled the end of this era.
It really dictates the defense.
Premium top 60 selection on Eli Stowers, who everyone knows is being groomed as the ultimate heir to Dallas Goedert. Add in the signing of Johnny Munt, a proven blocking specialist who knows this system inside and out, and Calcaterra is completely blocked on the depth chart. Cutting him after June first carries a tiny penalty, but gives the team total freedom to pivot. With Goedert leading the room, Stowers elevating to the second spot, and guys like Stone Smart and undrafted rookie Daquan Wright fighting for positioning, Calcaterra is the odd man out. The reality is that in today's NFL, you cannot afford to carry a one-dimensional tight end who does not even excel at his one dimension. Calcaterra's lack of physical progression over the last 2 seasons has frustrated the offensive staff, and with a new coordinator looking to maximize personnel flexibility, keeping a non-blocking, non-threatening tight end is a luxury this team cannot support. But if you think the tight end room is getting shook up, wait until you hear the absolute bombshell trade rumor that is about to completely shatter the wide receiver room. This next move is going to absolutely send shockwaves through the entire fan base because it involves a player everyone thought was untouchable. Word on the street is that a massive blockbuster trade is brewing that could see A.J. Brown shipped out of town, completely flipping the blueprint of this offense. Because of that looming explosion, wide receiver Elijah Moore is suddenly on the chopping block. People thought Moore was brought in just to keep his college best friend happy, but this front office does not make multi-million-dollar decisions based on friendships. Even if the roster loses its top star, the wide receiver depth here is surprisingly deep, making Moore a luxury the team simply cannot afford. Walking away from him cost the front office absolutely $0 in dead cap space, while instantly putting over $1 million back into their pockets. It is a cold, hard business decision. Moore's production has been highly erratic since entering the league, and despite flashes of separation quickness, his inability to consistently win on the outside forces him into a crowded slot role. In this offense, slot receivers must be elite blockers or explosive vertical threats, and Moore has yet to prove he can handle those physical demands consistently. The front office is looking at the bottom line, and when a player's cap hit outweighs his projected on-field utility, Roseman never hesitates to pull the trigger. Who do you think is the biggest scapegoat for these roster problems? Drop a name below right now. Now let's talk about the absolute chaos happening at the most important position on the field. The quarterback room is a ticking time bomb, and a veteran Andy Dalton is sitting right on top of it. The team gave up a future draft pick to bring Dalton in, but his survival hinges entirely on what happens with young gun Tanner McKee. If a quarterback-needy team steps up and executes a trade for McKee, Dalton instantly locks in the backup role. But right now, NFL teams have their quarterback situations settled, meaning McKee is likely staying put to eventually cash in as a free agent. Carrying 4 quarterbacks on the active roster is a total space killer that destroys depth at other positions. Even though cutting Dalton means eating $1.5 million in dead money, keeping him might be a luxury the numbers just won't allow. Dalton brings veteran leadership and immense experience, but at this stage of his career, his physical ceiling is severely limited. If the offensive line suffers injuries, Dalton does not possess the mobility required to escape the pocket and extend plays in this specific scheme. McKee, on the other hand, represents the future backup blueprint with a much cheaper price tag and higher developmental upside. Management is weighing whether that veteran security blanket is truly worth sacrificing a valuable roster spot that could be used to bolster special teams or defensive line depth. But wait until you see the absolute freak of nature on defense who is about to get completely discarded. Turning our attention to the defensive side of the ball, former first-round pick Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is on the verge of becoming a certified draft bust. The physical tools are undeniable. The guy looks like a prototype edge rusher when he walks off the bus. But his play on the field has been a massive disappointment, which is why his former teams completely gave up on him. He plays way too small for his frame and has failed to generate consistent pressure. With Jonathan Greenwood locked in as a dominant force on the edge alongside Jackson Hunt and Nolan Smith, there is simply no room for error. The team also has Arnold Ebiketie putting up elite pressure metrics and developmental rookies hungry for snaps. Tryon-Shoyinka is facing an uphill battle, and saving hundreds of thousands in cap space by letting him go seems like an easy call for management. When you look at his tape, his pass rush plan is almost non-existent. He relies strictly on a bull rush that NFL-caliber tackles neutralize with ease. He lacks the counter moves necessary to win at this level, and his run defense has regressed to the point where he becomes a target for opposing offensive coordinators. The Eagles' defense requires edge players who can set a hard edge and force running backs inside, and Tryon-Shoyinka's tendency to get washed out of plays makes him an active liability. Finally, let's talk about the secondary, where Kelee Ringo is fighting for his professional life. Despite his world-class speed, Ringo has shown zero instinct or lateral quickness at the cornerback position in the pros. He simply cannot fluidly cover NFL wideouts. While he can contribute on special teams, the team just built an elite corner trio with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Reek Woolen. With veterans like Jonathan Jones and highly paid, undrafted free agents filling out the room, Ringo's roster spot is in extreme jeopardy, especially since cutting him frees up an easy $1 million. His straight-line speed is legendary, but football is a game of short-area quickness and rapid transitions. When opposing wide receivers run nuanced routes with sudden breaks, Ringo routinely gets caught out of position and resorts to grabbing, leading to costly penalty flags. The transition to safety has been discussed, but the team's recent acquisition of proven veteran leaders in the secondary closes that door as well. And for everyone screaming that clutch kicker Jake Elliott is going to get cut after his recent struggles, forget about it. The dead money hit on Elliott is a massive $4.5 million, meaning the front office is forced to pray that the best kicker in franchise history can somehow cure his mental funk before the season kicks off. This roster is about to undergo an absolute metamorphosis, and the names we just discussed are merely the tip of the iceberg as camp approaches. Every single position group is under intense scrutiny, and the margin between making the active roster and hitting the waiver wire has never been thinner in the city of brotherly love.